Unexpected confession revealed by cleaning lady minutes before wedding changes everything forever. The air in Maplewood buzzed with excitement. Emily, a dedicated nurse, could hardly contain her joy. Her wedding to Max, her childhood sweetheart, was just days away. The church, a quaint structure adorned with bright flowers, smelled of hope and joy. Every neighbor had pitched in, making Emily's dream wedding a shared community event. However, an unforeseen storm was brewing just beneath the surface. Rosa, the elderly cleaning lady with a heart full of stories, stumbled across a dusty box while sifting through the attic. Inside were letters that whispered long-buried secrets. As she read, her heart raced. Emily's mother, whom everyone believed had died in an accident, had led a startlingly different life. Shock bombarded Rosa as she realized Emily's real father was a man she had never known. Should she tell Emily before the wedding? The thought clawed at her conscience, ripping apart the fabric of her loyalty. Would the truth shatter the beautiful life Emily had built with Max? For days, doubt gnawed at Rosa's insides. Meanwhile, Emily awoke each morning, excitement tinged with a strange unease. She brushed off the fears, convinced they were pre-wedding jitters. But a gnawing worry remained, lurking like a shadow. As the wedding day approached, the town buzzed with last-minute preparations. Yet, despite the laughter and the joy, Emily felt an unsettling push and pull inside her heart. She couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. Was it just wedding jitters? Or was it something deeper? Then, the day before the ceremony, the suspense reached a boiling point. Prepping the last few details, Emily noticed a worried look overtaking Rosa's usually cheerful expression. Rosa approached her, trembling. "Emily, there's something you need to know," the words echoed with an ominous reverberation. Emily's heart quickened, her mind raced, and she could feel the exuberant atmosphere of the wedding preparations crumbling around her. Was it really happening? Rosa shared the truth hidden in those letters, shaking the foundation of Emily's world. The beautiful dreams that once painted her future with Max began to unravel like threads of a worn tapestry. Could she walk down the aisle with the weight of this bombshell looming over her? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Emily's mind whirled with confusion. Her love for Max, which felt like an unbreakable bond, now stood in the shadow of a past she never knew. The inviting warmth of the community, once a blanket of support, now felt heavy with expectations and questions. She looked at Rosa, who was both a bearer of gifts and a harbinger of turmoil. With church bells ring subtly in the background, Emily stood at a crossroads. Could love truly overcome hidden truths? As her gaze met Max's filled with hope and promise, Emily felt the world tilt beneath her feet. Was their love strong enough to withstand the tempest of revelation? The answer danced just out of reach, hanging in the silence, taunting her heart to choose. Emily stared into Max's eyes, searching for the comfort they usually provided. He smiled, completely unaware of the storm brewing within her. How could she possibly explain all of this? The truth, tangled in secrets, felt like a weight pressing against her chest. "Emily?" Max's voice pulled her from the whirlwind. "Are you okay?" His brow furrowed with concern. She forced a smile, though it felt like a fragile mask held up by trembling hands. "Just a bit overwhelmed, I guess." Overhead, delicate fairy lights twinkled like stars, casting a soft glow around the bustling wedding preparations. Each face in the crowd seemed to shine with anticipation, but Emily felt a shadow lurking behind her. The laughter, the chatter, all felt distant now, as if she were trapped in a snow globe, watching the world go by but unable to touch it. As she drifted away from Max's side, her heart pounded. Thoughts tangled with every step. Was it betrayal to keep such a revelation from him? The wedding wasn't just about her. It was about the two of them, their love, and the future they had built together. Then why did every heartbeat scream for her to tell him the truth? Rosa hovered near the sweet table, hesitating as she watched Emily move through the crowd. Despite her aged features, her eyes held a fierce empathy. She looked like she wanted to reach out, but instead, she just stood, torn between duty and fear. Emily, Rosa started, her voice hushed and laden with worry. The chaos of the preparations faded into a muffled echo as Emily turned toward her. Rosa, I need to know, is this true? What you told me? I didn't want to hurt you. Rosa whispered, her voice trembling. But you deserve the truth. You deserve to know who you are. Emily's head spun. Who I am? Rosa, I don't even know who I am anymore. Jack, a friend from high school, approached with an excited grin. Hey, Emily, you ready for this? His cheerful tone felt like a stark contrast to the turmoil inside. Emily forced a smile, trying to shake the heaviness. Yeah, just a little last-minute jitters. Tonight's gonna be magical, he declared, oblivious to her internal struggle. Magic. That's what she wanted, magic and love under the twinkling lights. But what good was magic if it was built on lies and mistruths? With a deep breath, Emily made her way to a quiet corner, seeking solace amid the chaos. She thought of Max, so devoted and loving. Did he deserve to carry the weight of her mother's hidden past? The hidden truth of her lineage? The thought twisted into her gut, knots tightening. Emily? A gentle voice broke through her reverie. It was Max, his expression soft but searching. You've been distant. Please talk to me. The depth of his concern ripped through her facade. I don't know if I can go through with it. Max. The words burst out, raw and unfiltered. His face paled, eyes searching hers for understanding. What do you mean? I found out something. About my mom. About my dad, her words faltered. Emily, what are you saying? Max's voice trembled, realization flickering in his eyes. Tears brimmed at the corners of her eyes as she gripped her arms, feeling the gravity of her words loom like a dark storm. Would their love withstand the truth, whatever it may be? Could she bear to shatter everything beautiful right before it began? As she prepared to say the words that could change everything, a sudden crash echoed from the church entrance. Emily turned, heart racing as all eyes shifted toward the source of the commotion. Max, stay close, she whispered, gripping his arm tightly. Would the truth be revealed in that moment? Or were they destined to uncover even more buried secrets before the night was through? The crowd turned, faces shifting from anticipation to confusion, whispers ricocheting through the air like sharp pebbles. Emily's heart raced as her gaze darted toward the church doors. What could have caused such a disturbance? A tall figure stumbled in, one hand clutching a bouquet that looked like it had been wrestled from the ground. The other hand held a broomstick, absurdly out of place. It was Mrs. Thompson, the cleaning lady, wearing her usual apron, but now it was smeared with dust and what looked like cake frosting. Excuse me. Sorry. Just a moment, please, she shouted, out of breath. I was just. Max leaned in closer, brows knitted. Who is she? Emily didn't have time to answer. Mrs. Thompson's voice cut through the noise, and everyone listened, curiosity piqued. I need to tell you all something important before the big moment. Uncertain murmurs spread through the crowd. Emily felt a knot tighten in her stomach. What was so vital? Just moments before the start of the ceremony. This wasn't the time for unexpected revelations. And Mrs. Thompson? Rosa said, finally stepping forward. This isn't, but the cleaning lady wasn't finished. No, this is important. She took a moment to catch her breath, gripping the broom tightly. You all may want to sit down or at least listen closely. It's about Emily. Emily froze. Any mention of her name sent alarm bells ringing in her head. She caught Max's gaze, searching for reassurance but finding only worry. Emily is not just any bride, Mrs. Thompson continued, her voice rising. She comes from a line of, well, you might want to hear this from me. What are you talking about? Max spoke, his voice firm. The protectiveness suddenly embedded in him was palpable. Before she could applaud Max's instinct, Mrs. Thompson pointed her broom at them, trembling slightly. Your mother, Emily, she was part of something bigger than we ever realized. Gasps traveled through the crowd, and even Max took a step back, eyes narrowing. What do you mean? Your mother was involved in something that wasn't just family gossip. Secrets that have affected you, Emily. Her heart plummeted as realization washed over her. This was the moment she had feared. As if sensing the wound she'd just opened, Mrs. Thompson kept speaking. I found the letters, the old photographs. Of your father. It's not just what your mom told you. It's more complicated. The fairy lights above blinked uncertainly, illuminating the hushed crowd frozen in disbelief. Emily felt herself drifting, her mind a whirlwind of memories mingling with questions. Who was her father? What life had her mother led? Emily. Max's firm grip brought her back to the present. You need to tell me what all of this means. Right now. A tug-of-war of instincts bombarded her. On one side was the overwhelming urge to protect Max from this truth. On the other, the desperate need for clarity, for connection. The truth weighed heavier than the secrets, and now it threatened to unearth everything. Let us talk outside, Emily said suddenly, her voice gaining strength. She turned to Max, locking eyes. I can't hide this any longer. We need to know what it all means together. Max nodded, a flash of resolve igniting in his expression. Together, they stepped away from the crowd, leaving the noise behind, preparing to confront the truth. But just as they turned to leave, Mrs. Thompson's voice cut through again. Wait, you need to see the documents first. It's all in there. Now, trapped between her own past and an uncertain future, Emily wasn't sure which was more frightening, the secrets of her heritage or the path that lay ahead. Together with Max, she would have to face the storm. What awaited them in that document? Would anything remain the same when the truth finally emerged? The moment they stepped outside, the world felt off balance. The fresh air was a stark contrast to the heated whispers still swirling inside the church. Emily took a breath, her heart pounding hard against her ribcage, as they walked away from the laughter and excitement that had filled the ceremony just moments before. Emily, what is going on? Who was your father? Max asked, his brow furrowed with concern. He was close, his shoulder grazing against hers, and she could feel a warmth radiating from him, grounding her in the chaos. I don't know, she admitted, feeling a lump in her throat. I never knew him. Mom never talked about him. She always said it was too painful. Max's eyes softened. But Mrs. Thompson, those letters. They must tell you something. Emily nodded slowly, her mind racing. Maybe she found out something after all these years. I thought I had closed that chapter of my life, but it looks like it's back to haunt me. I just want to understand who he was, what he meant to Mom. Just as they approached the church's side entrance, they spotted Mrs. Thompson emerging from a small door, her face flushed but determined. I have them, she exclaimed, brandishing a weathered envelope like a treasure. Emily took the envelope as if it were the most fragile thing in the world. The edges were frayed, and her fingers trembled as she ran her hand over the faded writing. Her heart sank and soared all at once. She could almost feel her mother's presence in the paper, a doorway back to a woman she had idealized through the years. Open it, Max urged gently, his eyes locked onto hers, full of urgency. The world around them faded, and the sounds of wedding bells and jubilant laughter turned into a distant echo. Emily's pulse quickened as she tore the envelope open. With each fold of the paper, she felt the weight of family secrets, buried memories ready to resurface. The first photograph slipped out and landed on the ground. It was a black and white image of a handsome man perched on a bicycle, a smile lighting up his face. There was a sense of warmth in the picture, yet Emily felt a chill run down her spine. She was looking at a stranger, and yet, a part of her recognized him. What does it say? Max whispered, as though afraid to break the fragile moment. With shaky hands, she unfolded the letter, her eyes scanning the delicate script. It spoke of love, choices, and regrets. The words seemed to float off the page, pulling her into a whirlwind of emotions. Mom wrote this, she loved him, But something happened, someone got hurt. It's all here, she murmured, her voice thick with emotion. Max placed a comforting hand on her back, urging her forward. Read it aloud. You're not alone in this. She took a breath, letting the air fill her lungs before reading about a love that had been bold yet marred by decisions. The truth of her mother's life unfolded before her, revealing connections she never imagined. As she read, each sentence transformed into layers of understanding, every word striking deeper chords in her heart. This wasn't merely her past, but a larger tapestry woven with secrets and dreams. Her fingers grazed over the last paragraph, where her mother explained her struggles, the reason she chose to keep Emily away from the truth. Love was never supposed to come with such heavy costs. When she finished, silence enveloped them. The impact of the document left them both breathless. Max leaned in, searching her eyes. What will you do with this? Will you confront it, or hide it again? Emily hesitated, glancing back toward the church. The chatter filtered through the anxiety swirling inside her. She had come too far to back down now. I owe it to her, to myself, to uncover our history no matter how painful. She folded the letter carefully, feeling the weight of destiny on her shoulders. Outside the safety of her mother's lies, Emily had to step into the truth. Just then, a familiar face emerged from the excited crowd of wedding guests. Rosa, looking concerned. Emily, is everything okay? In that moment, with the past clashing against the future, Emily realized that embracing one would mean losing a part of the other. The fear was there, but so was hope. Not yet, but I think I'm finally ready to find out. And as the sun set, casting long shadows over the church, Emily faced Max, her voice steady. We need to go back in. There's more to discover, and I won't do it alone. With an unshakable resolve, she stepped toward the door, ready to confront the storm within. What other secrets lurked inside these old walls? What would it take to truly understand the legacy left for her? The heavy doors creaked as Emily and Max stepped back into the church, their hearts racing in tandem with the rhythm of the fading music. The laughter and chatter of the guests felt like it belonged to another world, one that was blissfully unaware of the unraveling tension surrounding them. Emily clutched the letter tightly, every heartbeat echoing her determination. She scanned the gathering, looking for Mrs. Thompson, but the older woman was lost in conversation with a group of attendees. Her presence felt like an anchor, a reminder that they were navigating this turbulent sea together. Where do we even start? Max whispered, clearly feeling the weight of their mission. Emily's eyes fell on the altar, a sacred space filled with memories. We need to find out who he was. He was more than just a name to me. He was someone. Max nodded, squeezing her hand. The warmth surged through her, offering a flicker of comfort amidst the chaos of emotions. A sudden hush fell over the room as the couple preparing to exchange vows entered, transforming the atmosphere. Emily could feel the heat rising to her cheeks, a mix of embarrassment for intruding and sadness that this couple seemed unburdened by heavy legacies. That looks like the bride's sister, Max said, gesturing toward a petite woman with cascading curls who was hurriedly trying to adjust the hem of the bride's gown. A flash of recognition crossed Emily's mind. She recalled Rosa mentioning the bride during their pre-wedding chats. An idea sparked within her. What if I talk to her? Maybe she knows more about my dad or what happened. Max raised an eyebrow. You think she would? It's worth a shot. If anyone could shed light, it might be family. Driven by a newfound sense of purpose, Emily steered through the crowd, her heart pounding. Each step took her closer to the truth, but also deeper into anxiety. She spotted the sister, who was deep in conversation with the bride's mother. Excuse me, Emily called out, willing her voice to remain steady despite her fraying nerves. The sister turned, her expression caught between surprise and caution. Yes? Can I help you? I'm Emily. I was a family friend of your sister's. I think we have something in common. The sister's brow furrowed in confusion. What do you mean? Emily hesitated, unsure how much to reveal. I'm looking for information about my father. He was part of my mom's past. I think he may have been connected to your family somehow. The sister's eyes widened briefly, the shock morphing into a flicker of empathy. That's a lot to drop. Can we talk somewhere private? Emily nodded. They moved away from the crowd, finding a quiet nook behind a decorative column. Max stayed close, his presence a reassuring wall. What do you want to know? The sister asked, crossing her arms. My mom received letters. They suggest my father was someone important. I don't know anything about him. I just want to understand. A moment of silence hung between them. Emily could see the gears turning in the sister's mind, the hesitation battling with instinctual kindness. You have to understand, she finally said. The story isn't as simple as love. It's tangled with loss and regret. My family, we've carried our share of burdens. Then help me understand. Emily pleaded, her voice thick with emotion. Please. The sister bit her lip, contemplating. I guess I can tell you some of it, but you need to be ready. It's a story that hasn't been told for a long time. Tension hummed in the air as the reality of the unknown loomed ahead. Emily's breathing quickened. It was an invitation into a darkness she hadn't fully anticipated. What are you saying? Max interjected, almost protectively. The sister took a breath, glancing back toward the ongoing celebrations. You're about to uncover why those letters were written. And trust me, it's not just your mother's history. It's the whole family's. Emily's heart raced at the revelation. What kind of storm was brewing? But as the sister began to speak, their attention was tugged away by a sudden commotion from the crowd. The bride's mother was shouting, her face twisted in panic, and before Emily could react, everything began to spiral out of control. What was happening? Would they finally learn the truth, or would they be thrust into an even deeper mystery? The room erupted in chaos. Emily's heart sank as she watched the bride's mother waving her arms, her voice punctuated by shouts of confusion. Guests turned, expressions shifting from confusion to alarm. Max instinctively moved closer to Emily, blocking her from the view of the madness. But her eyes wouldn't leave the scene unfolding before her. What's happening? Max whispered urgently. I don't know. Should we check it out? Before Max could respond, another voice cut through the clamor. A cleaning lady, her uniform slightly wrinkled, stepped forward from the periphery, gripping an old envelope crumpled in her hand. All eyes landed on her, the room's tension ebbing momentarily in curious anticipation. Excuse me, she called out, her voice rising high. I think this belongs to someone here. Emily's pulse quickened. It felt impossibly familiar. Could it be related to her search? The bride's mother paused, her eyes narrowing. What do you mean? With shaky hands, the cleaning lady cleared her throat. I found this. It was left behind in the restroom. Looked important. She held up the envelope, its yellowed edges hinting at age. Whispers swept through the crowd as everyone leaned in closer. I need to open it, Emily whispered, torn between the uncertainty of the moment and the urgency bubbling inside her. Max, still close, nodded in silence. As the cleaning lady managed to tear the envelope open, she pulled out a single sheet of paper with neat handwriting. Emily's breath caught in her throat. Was this it? The woman began to read aloud, her voice quivering. To my dearest Rosa, the familiar name echoed in Emily's mind, each syllable a reminder of her mother and the life she had long tried to piece together. The cleaning lady continued, I know this will reach you, even if my heart aches to write it. I've made decisions that have impacted us both. Please forgive me for the silence. I've said things that can never be unspoken, and now, the time is almost up. Gasps filled the room, a tense energy surrounding the space as the crowd hung on every word. Emily looked at Max, who watched her with wide eyes, realizing the weight of what was being revealed. Who wrote this? The bride's mother demanded, her face ashen. Who is Rosa? The cleaning lady nervously took a step back. I don't know, I just found it. But it seems significant. In that instant, Emily felt a surge of emotion. It was as if the universe had conspired to push her toward the truth. This letter, potentially connected to her mother, beckoned her like a lighthouse guiding a sailor home. I need to speak to you, Emily said, stepping toward the cleaning lady. Can you remember where you found it? I was cleaning up after the bridal shower last week. The lady stammered. I thought it was lost. But I couldn't ignore it was calling to me. Emily's mind raced. A lost letter, connected to a past she had glimpsed but never fully understood. What if it had more to reveal about her father, about Rosa's choices? The bride's sister stood frozen, her eyes flickering between Emily and the cleaning lady. This isn't just a simple letter, she murmured, realization dawning. Things aren't as they seem, Emily said, her voice firm despite the tremor of uncertainty. I need answers. As murmurs spread through the room, the weight of the moment settled heavily on Emily's shoulders. She could already feel the shadows of the past opening up before her. She could sense that the next steps would change everything. But just then, a voice from the back of the room broke through the tension. That letter connects all of us. Emily turned to see an older gentleman emerging from the crowd. His expression was grave, a mix of urgency and dread. Who are you? Emily asked, her heart pounding. The sudden twist in events promised to shatter the fragile answers they were just beginning to weave. Would this man hold the key to the past she so desperately sought? As she stepped forward, every pulse of her heart echoed the weight of impending revelations. What had she really unearthed, and what did it mean for the life she knew? Before she could process the man's response, the crowd began murmuring again, a collective wave of curiosity rising. She could almost taste the tension in the air, thick and electric. It wasn't just her past they were on the brink of uncovering, it was the whole tangled lineage of love, regret, and hidden truths, waiting to unfold before all of them. What would they discover next? And who was this man, really? The room thickened with tension as all eyes shifted to the man stepping forward. His gray hair framed a face heavy with lines that told stories of years lost in regret. Emily's heart raced as he strode closer, unease etched in every movement. I'm sorry to interrupt, but that letter, it holds more than just words. His voice trembled with authority, drawing every ear in the crowded room toward him. I knew Rosa. We were close once, and she had a secret. The murmurs escalated, a chorus of whispers spiraling around Emily, drowning out the individual thoughts racing in her mind. How could this man know her mother? A stranger, yet somehow tied to the heart of the chaos unfolding. Who are you? Emily managed to ask, feeling the weight of those staring at her. I'm Thomas, Rosa's brother, he stated, his gaze locked onto Emily, like he was searching for something, a connection. Perhaps. She believed that one day, she would tell you everything herself. The crowd seemed to lean in closer to grasp the significance, faces wide with curiosity. Emily felt the ground beneath her shift, a whirlwind of disbelief washing over her. A brother? She had never known. It was like finding a missing puzzle piece, but left her questioning the entire picture. Speak up, the bride's mother yelled, urgency transforming into impatience. If you know anything, we need to hear it now. Emily stayed silent, her mind racing. Did he truly have answers? Or was he just another stranger caught in her family's tangled narrative? I saw the pain she carried all those years. The decisions she made to protect you. Thomas's voice cracked, raw with emotion. It was never easy. She thought she could keep you safe from the truth that haunted her. What truth? Emily pressed, her voice trembling but insistent. What could be so awful? Thomas took a deep breath, steadying himself against the weight of the moment. You aren't just her daughter, Emily. You're part of a story far deeper than you realize. She left to spare you from a legacy of pain, never thinking it would lead to this. The world around Emily faded into a blur, her pulse roaring in her ears. Nothing made sense. The secrets that had lived in the shadows of her life were now flickering to life. Legacy? Pain? Could this be why her mother had always felt so distant, as if she were holding onto a burden too heavy for one person? As I stood there reading that letter, my heart broke for what she didn't say. She thought she could shield you, but the truth can no longer be buried. Emily's breath hitched, realizing the implications of his words. What happened to her? Why did she leave? I don't have all the answers, Thomas said, his voice trembling. But I know that she loved you deeply. Tears pricked at Emily's eyes as the flicker of hope and grief tangled within her. Could love bleed from the very choices that seemed to hurt? Max squeezed her hand, a silent offering of strength as the crowd seemed to hold its breath, waiting for the laces of this story to unravel. What did she want me to know? Emily uttered, feeling the gravity of the moment rest squarely on her shoulders. Thomas paused, a flicker of uncertainty crossing his face. I have something that might answer that question. Something I held on to all these years, waiting for this moment. The electric atmosphere crackled anew with promises of revelation and heart-wrenching discovery. Every heartbeat echoed with the knowledge that the answers she sought lay just within reach. But would the truth be liberating, or destroy everything she thought she knew? As Thomas steadied himself, the room seemed poised on the edge of a revelation that could forever change the course of her life. What could he possibly reveal next that would shatter or rebuild her understanding of everything? Thomas took a slow, deliberate breath, the kind that felt like it was pulling the weight of the world. He reached into his pocket, fingers trembling slightly as he withdrew a small, faded photograph. The moment he held it up, a collective gasp rippled through the room, eyes widening with curiosity and anticipation. Rosa wanted you to have this, to have something of her, he said, his voice barely above a whisper. He extended the photograph toward Emily, who felt like the entire world had slowed. With shaky hands, she took the picture, her heart pounding. It was an image of her mother from years ago, laughing and vibrant, the woman she barely remembered. Emily could see the glimmer in her eyes, a spark of life that felt so alien to the version she had known. But beside her mother was a man, one who looked strikingly familiar yet did not belong in the fragments of her memories. Who is he? Emily's voice broke, filled with confusion and fear. Thomas's gaze faltered for a moment, then settled back on her. That's your father, Emily. The man your mother loved and lost. Gasps followed his words, reverberating off the walls like thunder. Emily felt as if the ground had been ripped from beneath her. Her father? How could this man be her father when all her life her mother had held tightly the secrets of her past? Does he know about me? She managed to ask, feeling lightheaded. Thomas shook his head, sorrow deepening the lines carved in his face. No. Rosa had her reasons for keeping you apart. He wasn't a safe person. I think she hoped to shield you from the darkness in his life. Emily's heart sank. The idea of a father out there, possibly hiding in the shadows, felt like a weight she wasn't ready to carry. Illustrations of a life she never had flickered through her mind, a father with whom she could laugh, share stories, and maybe understand herself a little better. But then, the implications of her mother's choices churned inside her. Why didn't she ever tell me? Tears burned in her eyes as Thomas's expression softened. She was afraid, Emily. Afraid of the pain it would bring you. Afraid of what he might do if he knew. There were things in his past, demons, you might say, that haunted him. Rosa thought she was protecting you from that life. A sudden silence engulfed the room, as if the very air had been soaked with heartache. Emily's emotions swirled together. Anger, grief, confusion. Could she blame her mother? The woman who had loved her so fiercely yet chosen silence to protect? And what about you? Emily asked, almost desperate for answers. Why are you here now? I couldn't let her silence continue, Thomas admitted. I thought I could help her find a way to tell you the truth. But when she left, his voice trailed off, and the remorse was palpable. I became your mother's keeper, waiting for the day you would need to know. But it never came until now. The room felt heavier still. All around her were faces filled with sympathy and concern. Max squeezed her hand again, grounding her in this whirlwind of revelations. What about how do I even begin to find him? Thomas looked directly into her eyes, the glint of determination reflecting back at her. I have his address. I'll help you reach out. But be careful. The truth isn't just a burden. It's also a gift. You need to decide if you're ready for what it will reveal. Emily nodded, uncertain but resolute. Was she really ready to unravel these threads? Deep within, something dared her forward, whispering that the truth was worth the pain it might bring. Okay, she whispered. At that moment, Emily realized she was on the brink of something monumental, something that could shape her future and honor her mother's past. But with every heartbeat thundered the question, would she be prepared for what she might find? The crowd buzzed softly around her as Thomas stepped forward, the photograph slipping from Emily's grip and landing at her feet. With trembling resolve, she bent down to pick it up, knowing this was only the beginning. What awaited her after she stepped through the door of the unknown? Emily took a moment, the photograph clutched tightly in her hand, as she scanned the room. Max's reassuring presence floated beside her, his steady grip lending strength, but the uncertainty made her skin prickle. What if that man in the photograph was someone completely different? What if he didn't want her? Where do we start? She asked, her voice trembling slightly. We start with the address, Thomas said, and it felt like the world was narrowing down to that one task. He pulled a folded piece of paper from his pocket and handed it to her. She unfolded it slowly, the name and address staring back at her as if mocking her fears. An urgency squeezed her heart. What if he is dangerous? What if he belongs to your past? Thomas interrupted gently. But you need to face it to find out what your future holds. You have to decide if confronting him is worth the risk. Emily took a deep breath, reminding herself that knowledge was power. She couldn't hide forever. With each tick of the clock, she felt the pull toward the unknown growing stronger, like a rope slowly tightening around her. Will you come with me? She asked, her voice barely audible, but the need was clear. Thomas nodded, the weight of his promise resting between them. It gave her a sense of comfort, but as the minutes turned into plans, a thought loomed. But we shouldn't tell anyone else, right? Not yet. Not yet, he agreed. Just think of it as finding the last piece of your mother's puzzle. Bring closure or maybe even a new beginning. Hours passed before Emily found the courage to leave her apartment. Max drove them to a part of town she hadn't visited before. Each block seemed to amplify her anxiety. Would she regret this? Would she be making the biggest mistake of her life? They arrived at a small, unassuming house, its paint chipped and worn. The sight hit her like a punch. This was where her father lived. She stared at the crumbling steps, memories of her mother's unwavering strength battling against the regret of what might have been. Are you sure you want to do this? Max whispered, his eyes scanning the house as if danger was lurking behind every corner. I have to, she responded, her voice firm despite the tumult inside her. I need to know. For Mom. She walked slowly towards the door, each step echoing what felt like a lifetime of questions and fears. The house loomed larger, shadows stretching across the yard as if to discourage her approach. She reached for the doorbell, her hand hovering just above it. But before she could press down, the door swung open, and there he stood, her father. His eyes were a mix of surprise and caution as he took in her face, and it hit her all at once. The resemblance was undeniable. The same strong jaw, the same bright eyes that harbored emotions too complex to decipher. Can I help you? He asked, a hint of wariness in his tone. This was it, the moment she had dreamed of and dreaded all at once. Dad? She breathed, and that single word opened a floodgate of emotions. The uncertainty, the longing, and the questions all crashed together, threatening to drown her. But before she could say anything more, a voice broke the heavy silence behind her. Emily, wait! Thomas rushed forward, concern etched on his face. What had she stumbled into? And why was Thomas coming to her rescue? Suddenly, she felt like the ground was shifting beneath her, and all those carefully held truths began to melt away as something deeper loomed on the horizon. What truth was about to unravel now, and how would it change everything she thought she knew? Caught between the weight of her father's presence and the urgency of the moment, Emily wrestled with the emotions flooding through her. She stood there, chest rising and falling with each uneasy breath, her world hanging in the balance. Her father looked shocked, eyes widening, but there was something deeper, a flicker of recognition, of hope. I'm sorry, he stammered, taking half a step back, confusion clouding his expression. How do you know my name? Dad. She repeated, this time louder, more insistent. I'm Emily, your daughter. The words tumbled from her lips, each syllable sharpened by a lifetime of questions. She felt Max's presence nearby, a gentle support urging her to stand tall. Emily? His voice wavered, and she watched the storm of emotions billow across his face. Time stood still while she searched for any hint of connection, desperately wanting to see the man she had painted in her dreams. Before he could respond, Thomas stepped into the space, his voice a whirlwind of authority. Henry, you need to listen. This is your daughter and she's searching for the truth your past tried to bury. Henry's gaze shifted to Thomas, eyebrows knitting together, confusion thickening the air like fog. What do you mean? I didn't even know I had a he trailed off, stumbling over the reality colliding with his world. Rosa wanted to protect her. But Emily deserves to understand who you are, the choices that shaped her. Thomas continued, urgency fanning the flames of confrontation. The weight of the moment pressed down on them like a storm cloud ready to burst. Emily could hardly breathe as Henry looked back at her, searching her face for answers that felt just out of reach. But I never knew. I never meant for I had to leave. Why? The words slipped out raw and unfiltered. Every part of her begged for clarity, for a bridge that closed the gap of years lost. Henry ran a trembling hand through his hair, glancing sideways as emotions churned within him. You don't understand. There were dangerous things. I thought your mother was better off without me. But it wasn't your choice to make. She shook with the weight of her hurt, holding back tears of a lifetime. You left me, left us. I grew up without a father. Max shifted beside her, protective and firm. You need to explain yourself now. Henry hunched his shoulders, defensively shielding the weight of guilt. There are things in my past that I never wanted to drag Rosa into. I thought it was safer for her and for you. I didn't want to bring the chaos I had to your world. Emily's heart shattered. All those years of wishing for her father, crafting stories in her mind of how perfect it could be. And now, standing before him, it felt like that perfect fantasy had splintered into jagged reality. Is it true? Emily's voice broke. Did you really love my mother? His eyes softened, a flicker of warmth igniting within. With everything I had. But I was damaged. I couldn't give her what she needed. The truth of his battles filled the space between them, haunting, raw. Could this be the man she feared and longed for? You could have tried. She whispered, voice trembling. And I'm sorry. His confession hung in the air, heavy and earnest. I should have been there. The choices were mine, and I've regretted them every day. Tears spilled down Emily's cheeks, the catharsis mingling sorrow with a sense of bittersweet release. Can you at least try to be a part of my life now? Can you help me understand? Silence enveloped them, the weight of the moment pressing in. Yet, beneath the layers of regret, a spark ignited an odyssey ready to begin anew. Henry took a small step forward, hands shaking. I'd like that more than anything. I want to tell you everything I've kept locked away. Emily nodded, a glimmer of hope igniting in her heart amidst the heaviness. It's a long road, but I need to know. I want you to know me too. Max shifted, stepping closer to Emily and wrapping an arm around her shoulders, in a comforting embrace, a shared strength becoming a lifeline. Together, they waited as Henry collected his thoughts, inhaling deeply before he spoke again. This time we turned the page. I'm ready to face my past. With that declaration, the tension within the room shifted. Where confusion once dominated, understanding began to blossom, a connection forged through painless honesty, gliding towards the horizon of possibility. Just then, a voice cut through the emotional haze. It was Rosa, viewers' anticipation spiking. Bursting through the doorway, she looked more intent than frail, glancing between Henry and Emily with hope in her eyes. What did I miss? She called, an eager determination brightening her features. Everything, Emily replied, her heart thrumming with newfound strength. The stage was set, and the answers were ready to unfurl. As the remnants of buried secrets lay bare, they were primed to build their own narrative, one woven with threads of honesty, connection, and healing. The future waited patiently, glimmering under the weight of shared history, beckoning them to step forward. "Let us start," Emily said with firmness, her spirit alight. Together, as they all stood there amidst a swirl of uncertainty, grief turned to hope, and shadows faded before the light of new beginnings. This is the moment to seize. Love, truth, and family redefining their course, standing side by side, ready for whatever lay ahead. And as the last pieces of the past fell into place, Emily felt the weight of legacy transform not as a chain around her neck, but as wings taking flight. If you felt that transformation, that incredible journey, you need to subscribe now to catch the next exclusive stories we have for you. Leave a like now to support the channel and ensure our community thrives on the truths shared. Comment below and let us know your reactions to this emotional ending. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness this transformation of love and discovery. Your support matters. Be a true fan.